Whoa, I didn't realize I didn't have the microphone on. How embarrassing of me. How embarrassing of me. Yes, Ted here, buddies, and Wix, and I still have music going in the background for some reason. I don't know why, that was really weird. But yeah, here we are. I know I've been doing these once a week. Sorry, I've been very, very tied up with work. I've been staffed as a supervisor position. And it looks like the live stream is working. I'm very, very surprised. I think I figured it out. And you know what? It was something very, very simple. I actually figured it out on Rumble. But shh, don't tell YouTube I told you this, but Rumble's easier to work. So that's how I was able to figure it out. And yeah, so we did a live show on Rumble last week, and today we broke it over to YouTube, and then the live version of this will get uploaded to Rumble. So if you don't know what Rumble is, it is basically the competitor of YouTube, you know. So anyways, I'm gonna get done with that. I'm gonna get right into it, or try to get right into it anyway. What I've been doing is I've been going down to the basics, right? Because everything is just, it feels like it's imploding, right? I know you feel it, I feel it. Everybody's feeling the squeeze of everything, no matter what coin it is. I know Curve, no, Celsius, sorry, Celsius, to where they had their CEOs or whoever it was arrested the other day by stealing people's money in a huge pyramid scheme. Well, I hate to say it, but they were just acting like the Federal Reserve. They were just taking people's money, and then what they were doing is they were lending it back out 9 times as much, holding only 1% as a reserve. So when things started going sour and everybody started coming back and wanting their money back, they didn't have it. And that's ultimately what would actually happen if we all did want our money back right now. Isn't that crazy? I mean, we would have another depression overnight. We literally would. And it's just crazy that people don't realize that. But anyways, besides the fact of that kind of bad news, there is some good news in all of this. Good news being that we do have kind of barometers for this, right? So, in my barometers, this is the way I kind of look at it, and the way I'm kind of breaking it down, is that one, we have the major coin, of course, Bitcoin. 2, we have the first smart contract coin, Ethereum, and then 3, we have the first privacy coin, which is Monero. So those 3 are the 3 that I feel like have been going, not only that everybody's been going after, but people have been watching and investing in regularly. And so it just takes a little bit of time probably for these things to kind of resurface, to come up to, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but I will. I promise you, I will explain all of this. Don't get here, and I'm trying to figure out which one I'm gonna go first. But well, I guess while I'm doing that, what I could do is do the easy part. Hey, how about this? But we're gonna talk about crypto. We're gonna talk about Monero. We're gonna talk about Ethereum. We're gonna talk about Bitcoin, and we're gonna do all that. Probably, hopefully, very, very shortly. I don't want to keep you guys long. I don't want to do this long. This has to be very, very short. So here comes the intro, and then after that, we'll get into 3 different charts, and hopefully after that, we should be out of here within the next 10-15 minutes. So I just had some weird audio come up again. Sorry about that. I don't know where that weird audio came from. It was like a repeat of myself. While the break was happening, I was like, "Where's this audio coming from?" But mystery solved. I really don't know. So, all right. So, again, smart money. What is smart money? That is the first question. Smart money is basically how charts are pushed around, right? So let's talk about you as the small guy, right? You are the small guy. You are the person that is the big fish in the small pond. And everybody else has the funds to push around the charts, correct? Right? And that's what basically smart money is. Now, giving that, we do have a lot more information than just that, right? Smart money acts in a way that will try to trick retail traders into trading how they were basically normally taught to trade, right? So if you were normally taught to trade as, you have one high here, you have one high here, and then all of a sudden, you short that next high, what happens? It shoots up through it. And then people go, well, what happened? I was taught to short those highs. And then so they start chasing it. And then once they chase it, it stops, and then it drops right back down below where it was. And they go, oh my God, I should have listened to him. I should have listened to him. Maybe it was my stop loss. I don't know what I did wrong. And then so they go, okay, I'm gonna short it now. And so they short it, and then after they short it, they think they're okay, and they don't pay attention for a while, and the next thing you know, boom, goes right back up. And that's when they get caught, and that's when they're overwhelmed, and they have no idea what happened, and it's because of this kind of scenario of this down, up, down, hey, double highs, hey, single high where there's liquidity right above it. Hey, there's a, maybe double lows, or, there's a big spike down, that was looking for a stop hunt maybe a month ago or something like that, 2 months ago. Price might still try to get below that stop hunt point because that is where the liquidity lies. That is where people think that it's safety, right? It's safety because that is where it went that low before. So, therefore, instead, what happens is that it drops below it and then cuts through that area and pulls back up. So that ultimately can trigger the trade, and then ultimately go down far enough to where it's going to also trigger the stop loss. So that way it just drops really quick. You won't even notice it, and your money's gone, right? Or it does the opposite. It goes up, and next thing you know, your money's gone because you were taught a specific way of trading, and you did it, and it didn't do as you expected it to. And that's the scariest thing about smart money. It really is. So, if you want to hear more stuff about this, if you're going to keep following this channel, I ask of you 3 things. First, you got to get on the roller coaster because we are about to get on it. And you should subscribe while you're on the roller coaster. I mean, it would be awesome if it were like, I don't know, what is it, Space Mountain? Yeah, we're on Space Mountain right now. Yeah, Space Mountain. All right. You got to subscribe to Space Mountain, right? Then you got to like Space Mountain. I mean, why would you not subscribe to Space Mountain if you didn't like it, right? And then you got to run around and tell all your friends about Space Mountain, right? So that's the sharing part. Well, there should have been a share GIF come up, but it actually didn't happen. But never mind. I don't know what happened with that, but that's okay. But also, what I want to look at, I know I have bar chart pulled up, but what I actually wanted to pull up was coin market cap. Actually, not not bar chart. But I want to go to coin market cap. Oh yeah, I was looking at PHP stuff today. I was like, what does that line mean in PHP again? So, coinmarketcap.com should be a list of all of the current, cryptos and what their prices are, what their rankings are, their, their caps and all that good stuff. I don't know why I'm behind the bodies and wicks thing. Do I have to be over here for that? Jeez. Okay, hold on one second. This is going to be different because I have to move. Okay. Sorry, I've got kind of a new setup today, so maybe that's why it's kind of throwing me off too. And why is this not going to coinmarketcap.com? I'm actually getting very upset. I hit enter 3 times. Enter 3 times, and it still didn't do it. All right, so I'm going to turn the gain up a little bit because I'm going to be a little bit further away from the microphone. All right, so what are we looking at right now? Now, it's showing you that within the last 24 hours, Bitcoin has went up 10%, Ethereum 12%. So this is why I call these two primarily the barometers, right? Because these two are of course, the top two. The reason I think of Monero as a barometer again is because it was the first privacy coin, and there's still going to be privacy coins coming. And there was a point when Monero was making higher percentages than anybody else. I'm not for sure exactly where it is today on here. Oh, it's 29. Okay, so it's at 29. And still, look, up to 8.6%. And then within the week, it was down 28 point something. 26.41. Okay, 26.41. So, that being said, I mean, there's still tons of others out there too, but these are the 3 that I look at whenever I try to make a decision about what's happening in the market. Because these are the 3 kind of main things that basically make up the market. I know there's stable coins too, but they don't really, adjust I mean, they're there for a reason. The stable coins are there for a reason. I mean, unless you're Terra, unfortunately, then you become Terra Bro, and or Terra Bear, I guess you could say they're Terra Bear. Yeah. So you can see Tron. This is what's been surprising me is Tron's been making its way up. I remember when Tron was like in the lower 200s, probably earlier this year, or maybe even below that. I don't even know. But as you can see, the top 2, Bitcoin, Ethereum, 3 and 4, are the Jesus. Can't even think of the name. I just called it just a second ago, and now I can't even think of it. The stable coin. That's correct. Stable coin. Third of the actual chains, I guess you could say, Binance, and then you got BUSD, so another stable coin. Cardano. This is something I don't understand. What has Cardano done? I guess people are just believing in it. I don't know. I don't know if they're really good at marketing, whatever. XRP. We all know what XRP is gonna do if this SEC lawsuit falls through. Solana just has a cool community. Like, it really does. I remember getting in on Solana. You've heard the story if you've ever watched my show at $15-20, and I got rid of it when it was at somewhere around 95, and again around 115. I had 5 shares, so I almost 5x'd it. I can't complain. you know, just for starting out, learning this kind of thing, you know, trying to apply smart money into these kind of things. I don't think I was talking about that salon run at that time. And now you got things like Avalanche, right? You got new upon new upon new networks, and it's so hard to navigate. It really is. It really is. I'm not gonna lie. You got Avalanche, Matic, well, it says Chronos, but that's Crypto.com, right? That is their network. Stellar Network, Near Network. I mean, these are Algo. These are all networks. It's, if I'm not mistaken, VeChain is its own network as well. Helium. Jesus Christ, look at Helium. I knew I should have got their miner. Man, I'm still thinking about buying it. There's a bunch on eBay. Don't tell anybody my secret. No, but it's okay. Nobody watches these videos. Zcash. This is another one that I think is comparable to Monero, because it acts kind of similar, except for Zcash I think has the ability to kind of like turn off and on the kind of decryption or privacy aspect of it, I guess you could say. EOS, another chain maker, another, you know. So Huobi, that is an exchange. That's a native token. IOTA Myota, that's my understanding. That is also another chain. BitTorrent, of course, chain. Aave chain. eCash. Now this is a new one. I think this came out of Terra Classic or US Terra, from my understanding. This came out of US Terra. All right, so Quant's still kind of hanging around there. That's weird. Neo still hanging around in the 60s. Weird. Phantom. All right, Phantom is another chain making its way back up there. Thor chain coming up, and so PancakeSwap, that's part of Binance. So now we're starting to get into you know, breaking it down into the different chains, right? Kava, which is part of Avalanche. Gate has its own, but okay. So, well, here's Bora, and you know, I think a lot of people thought Bora was going to be this amazing thing, and I'm not really for sure. We'll have to see. You know, the Bora price today got to about 28 cents, and what I've seen is I've seen people compare Bora to something as like Metis DAO, right? No way is Bora even in the same galaxy as Metis DAO, in my opinion. I think Metis DAO is way above Bora. Bora can, its market cap is way too high. So I'm not for sure what it's planning for this, you know, huge market cap, huge kind of almost valuation. But hopefully it has good plans in the future, and hopefully it will be able to come out of it, or at least execute the plan as planned, as cliche as that sounds. But you know, Bora is a blockchain with high cross-chain interoperability. Now that is important. That is hugely important. And it says 3 layers of the Bora blockchain: our application layer, the service layer, and the core layer. Okay, so the core layer of the blockchain is supported as the ecosystem, infrastructure, and data network. Core layer also supports settlements of the Bora points. Its code is modeled after Ethereum, okay, and uses the proof of stake consensus mechanism. So modeled after Ethereum, but uses proof of stake kind of like Matic, basically. So it says check out all these other ones. I don't know why it says check out Axis Infinity. That's a video game. Bored used to be an ERC20, but migrated to Clayton blockchain. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Because of the latter's focus on gaming and metaverse applications. That being said, next thing I want to do is what I want to look up is MetaStyle. I mentioned MetaStyle, right? So we can check out MetaStyle. If it'll type it in, maybe. What would I put it in? MetaStap. And a bunch of. Oh, here we go. All right. I think MetaStyle is okay. $16. Wow. This thing used to be like 100 and something. That's in the day. I want to see all. Okay, let's check out all of. Wow. That was just that time. Well, actually, no. This is 12/29/21. This is the first run of the bull run. It had a second run of the bull run. 1/14/22. Interesting. So the other runs of the bull run were here and here. No. It was what, in May and October? And I think October is like, let's say Bitcoin actually hit its major high in October, right? Not this guy. The thing is that, okay, here is what scares me about MetaStyle, is that it has all of these layers hitting the same top. That is in the it. Okay, hold on. Let me draw it up for you really quick. So I'm gonna. Oh man, this new setup is killing me. I'm gonna have to scream into the mic almost. All right. Come on. Pull, Wanda. Pull. You guys remember last National Lampoon's Last Trip? If you know National Lampoon's Last Trip, then you know that quote. It's hilarious. All right, so MetaStyle. I think MetaStyle is going to be amazing for the future. The thing is that DAOs are supposed to be securities for some reason when I read. So take that into consideration as well. Maybe that's not why it's doing so good, and everybody thinks it's not going to be a, currency as it should. I mean, the whole point about a DAO is being a decentralized, autonomous, organization. It's like almost like basically like hands off and let the organization run itself so that it doesn't run itself into the ground. It's the weirdest. Think of it as laissez-faire capitalism. Yes, it works. I know a lot of people hate to hear that, especially like crazy weird leftists. I'm not on either one of the political spectrum. I just pay attention to the news. That's all I do. It's really all I do. So since I pay attention to the news, I'm labeled as far right sometimes, and I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? I am not a white supremacist. Actually, you can probably ask one of the dudes who used to watch my channel. His name was Jim. He was a black guy. Me and him got along every day. I told him crypto things. He told me stock things. Yeah. And and here comes the other people going, oh, of course you'd have to have a black friend. No, it's just because people have friends, guys. Stop making everything so political, please. All right, let's get back to the charts. All right, Ministel. Why is it at $16? I don't know. So, it looks like it's slowing down, though. That's a good thing. Hold on, let me put it on a day. Wow. Okay, see, I actually thought it was going to hit somewhere around in between 60 and 40 and turn around. And boy, was I wrong on that. Okay, and I'll explain why I thought it might turn around between 60 and 40. Okay, it's making some feet here. But as it's making feet, it's breaking these lows. So it had two equal lows. So I would be expecting it to break that low. Why would you be expecting it to break that low? Because you'd be expecting it to break that low primarily because those lows equal. I'm trying to think how to explain it. Those lows equal liquidity, right? And liquidity means where most retail traders would place their common bonds, basically, or sorry, not common, and would start their common bonds. Jeez, I'm at work right now. Would put their stop losses. That's the word I'm looking for. Hello. They would put their stop losses near those areas, right? And because they would put their stop losses near those areas, that is the retail kind of like trading area. Well, the algorithm knows of these retail trading areas, so it knows to want to take them out because it knows that the little people shouldn't have the money. All of these algorithms are organized by the banksters, basically, right? And you can't tell me they're not. There's no way you can tell me that not one of these is organized by a bankster. Because what is it? All of that just says I'm robbing you. Because if you had saved up all of your life savings and you're like, hey, I'm actually like this is getting really low. I think I should put in all my life savings here at 36.38 or 36, 68. And I have $200,000. That, I mean, and then now it's at 16. That's half. So now you're at $100,000. Now what are you gonna do? Are you gonna pull out money, or are you going to try to win this battle? Basically, is what I'm asking. And my answer would be to try to win the battle. And to try to win the battle would be to fight through it. Because that's what smart money wants you to believe. Smart money wants you to go this route instead of that route. They want you to think that you can have possible control over it. They want you to think that you have the ability to look at what's going on, assess the situation, and make good judgments on your own. Sorry, I was actually just checking on myself to make sure this was playing. That's all. That's the only thing I was doing to see if this is actually playing. Because it's weird that I'm actually up and going right now. It's been the first time I've been live in months. So anyways, back to Bitcoin. or sorry, I was at MetaStyle. Let's go to MetaStyle. Now that we're in MetaStyle, we have the top point, right? And so let's say it drops below, right, this level here. Now, first I did in MetaStyle, what I did was I did a fib, and I did it at 0, right? Close enough, right? And so when I did it at 0, I thought once it got into the smart money, buy area, or at least that's what I call the smart money buy area, anywhere between 62% and look where it's at right now. It's kind of hovering around that 88.6%, right? That is the smart money buy area. That's where you'll see the institutions start picking up and adding and adding and adding and adding to their longs, right? So if you go to Bitcoin, and eventually you'll see this curve start to take back up. That's what I'm trying to say, right? And here's where I can prove it to you. So what we do is we take Bitcoin, right? And honestly, this is where I keep getting so screwed up on this. This is where I thought it was going to happen, right? I honestly thought it was going to happen just above 19,600. It didn't. But what I had just below that was another weekly fair value gap. And what did price do? Price ripped right through that monthly fair value gap. And this actually might be another monthly fair value gap, if I'm not mistaken. So let me go to weekly first, and let me see if this is a weekly range. Nope, it's a monthly fair value gap. Wow. Okay. And it all happened because of the last bull run, right? The last bull run runs up, hits top, runs down, right? Boom, comes up. Everybody's chasing it. And then all the smart money people go see it, and they see it get right there. And what do? Unload all of their money that they had in that product. Why? Who knows how much profit they would have made doing something like that. Fortunately, that's kind of how the dirty game works. But that is how it works, right? They unload when they need to unload, right? So if we put these together, right? And this is the weekly chart again, right? Again, I don't use trend lines. I don't use anything that has to do with retail trading, right? Harmonics, things like that, flags, anything like that. Why? Because they are all deceptions. They're all deceptions, right? So what happened here is that you had a fair value gap weekly, right? That was just below the fair value gap monthly. And this whole thing right here is the fair value gap monthly, right? So let me go to monthly, and I'll show you what the monthly means. All right, so whenever you go to the monthly, it's right here. Okay, so it's the previous month, and then the previous month's wick would actually be touching it. right? And then it would be the next month's wick that should be touching it. That would be the monthly fair value gap. Not exactly for sure if it did it or not. It looks like it did. It says it did. You know, and sometimes whenever you're going back and forth between charts like this, it kind of screws things up. So I'm gonna go back to weekly. Sounds like somebody's knocking. I don't know why. Maybe my neighbors. I don't think they're happy with me right now, but I don't care. All right, so what has happened, especially in Bitcoin, is that you have an up, right? You see these lows right here? Look at how equal these lows are. Back in 2017, during that bull run. Right? Okay. So, and look, it extends all the way across. I guess my neighbors are hanging like paintings or something. Sorry, guys. So it extends all the way across to give you this false sense of support. Remember what I was talking about when I was talking about false sense of support? This is one of them, right? So when I say false sense of support, it gives you this area to where it's like, oh, well, you know, it's bounced off here, it's bounced off here, it's bounced off here. And when it does that, what it's doing is it's actually manufacturing liquidity. Manufacturing liquidity. And what do I mean by manufacturing liquidity? It means that there are orders, right? Orders by the institutions that continuously come up underneath here, right? And what those orders do is they will sell stop, and they will still stop really quick, and then they'll buy back again. So as they're manipulating their own charts, they're also getting prepared for that. And these are the institutions that have the money to do so, right? That's how they manipulate these charts. And that's why you got to look for things like this. Look for equal highs, look for equal lows, because they're too good to be true. And because they're too good to be true, they are too good to be true, right? So, that being said, okay, and I want you to just take a note at my Bitcoin chart here. This is how intense I get into it. As you can see, there's no trend lines at all. There's no trend lines at all. Well, there's this thing right here that says April to June, and that's just me basically trying to give an example of, hey, this is the monthly fair value gap between April to June, right? So if I was to, and what I want to do is I want to duplicate this, and I want to start on Bitcoin on something I probably never worked on. That way I can give you a little bit more of a working example, right? As to what this Bitcoin kind of phenomenon is right now, because it's not really a phenomenon, to be honest. I saw this happening a mile away, and I actually said 20,600 was when it would turn around. It got lower than that a little bit, but you know, we're at the point to where it is going to turn around. In my humble belief, I do believe we're at that point, but it's going to consolidate for a little bit, and that's what's going to frustrate people. People are going to get frustrated really, really easily coming up. I mean, they're going to get really frustrated because they're not going to know what to do. They're going to start panicking. they're going to see everything already fall, and it's going to go up and down and go up and down and do all this stuff, and they're going to freak out and they're going to want to sell. I'm telling you, right now is the time to buy. I don't buy. I trade. So I don't buy Bitcoin and hold it. I trade futures. Okay? Just because it's way easier to make money that way. And it does it in such a way that you can do it so quickly that you can literally double, triple, quadruple your money in a day. But you have to know what you're doing. You have to know where these changes are taking place. You have to know, because you can also lose the $80 at like any time if you're not paying attention and you don't have the mental capacity to understand what's going on, right? So it's a very tricky game, because I believe the days of hodling coins are over. They're over. There's no way we're going to be able to take a coin, put $5-10 in it, and it's going to turn around and make us $1,000 ever again. Those days are over. They may not be. I don't know. They may not be. Who knows? Maybe we'll get this awesome coin that's going to like change the world. I don't know. But being, and I've been late to the crypto game, to be honest. But seeing what I've seen over these last 3 or 4 years, it has just been wow. And especially taking the mentorship that I had with Inner Circle Trader, for anybody watching out there that wants to go through a good mentorship, or watch some good technical analysis videos and understand the kind of things that I'm understanding and how I'm able to relay it to you, is because of a guy named Inner Circle Trader. Now, he does most of his stuff on foreign exchange, right? He also does equities and equities index futures, right? I believe I'm one of the first to kind of bring this to crypto, and it works. So, which tells me that yes, there are smart money investors in these charts every day, manipulating the charts to their ability. And it even could be a Sunday. Yes, it could be a Sunday. Why? Because that's how crypto ran. Unfortunately, there are going to be institutions who are going to want to protect their assets. And guess what? Those institutions, they have trillions and trillions of dollars probably. They do not have this simple, well, I got a couple hundred here, I got a couple hundred there, a couple thousand here, a couple thousand there. Just like your average trader. They don't have that. They have trillions and trillions, or billions, or whatever it is. They have tons of money that can make these charts move around so easily that you'll get lost chasing your tail, basically. All right, so now that you know that my chart is extremely messy, let's get into it, right? Let's take a look at why my chart is so damn messy. Okay. So, what we have here, all right? This was the start of that very first bull run, October of 20, right? Because before that, it was always below the 10,000s, and when it broke that that's where this red line is, right? Okay, well, it's 98.13, 10,000, whatever. Because I remember it always being below that 10,000, because that's when I was actually learning how to trade with this other group. I won't name their names to help them save their reputation, because they're horrible. I'm sorry, just don't go to iMarkets Live. There you go. Sorry, I had to say it. They have so many teachers. They're scatterbrained. They're all over the place, and they have people that want you to do this, whatever. I don't really care. But what I did like about that is how I met Mauricio, and Mauricio was the one that introduced me to smart money. And in Mauricio's Discord, somebody else mentioned Inner Circle Trader. Well, then I found out Inner Circle Trader was the godfather of smart money. And smart money is this thing that is where the banks trick you into trading like you normally would. And then they know how you trade, so they trade opposite of you, right? That is the exact definition of smart money trading. And it's easier to explain it in Forex. Thank you, Mr. Dollar Menu. That's a cool name, actually. I used to love the Dollar Menu. But no, that is exactly how, it's especially in Forex. It's so much easier to explain because those people want to, the big banks want to protect their assets, right? Chase Bank, they want to protect the dollar. The Federal Reserve, they want to protect the dollar. Bank of America, they want to protect the dollar, right? So what are they doing? They have people in there in the foreign exchange system trading for them, right? So it's different when it comes to the crypto services. I don't know who the big services are. I really don't. But what you can do, now this is another good hint, and please, if you had a pen and paper, write this down if you're watching, barchart.com. Barchart.com is another great resource. What you can do, right, at the very, I'm trying to get used to this new setup I got going here. I bought a new desk that has usually nobody wants to hear about my crap anyway. So you click select commodity, right? And then everything here is basically all the different commodities that you could ever look at. Gold, silver, all the way down to cotton, to, the 2-year T-note, to Eurofx. I'm going to click on Bitcoin Micro because that's what we're talking about, right? Bitcoin Micro. And then what it's going to do is it's going to bring up all the contracts for the Bitcoin Micro, right? And here's the June one, BAM22, right? That's what should technically show up if you go back to Tradingview, right? Unfortunately, Metis is not, a traded. It's not a, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's not technically a security yet. Actually, I don't think any DAOs are secure. Actually, I'm the opposite. All DAOs are securities. And they're still trying to go through and figure out which ones are currencies. And that is the biggest fight that we're having in the regulatory climate right now. Is which ones are DAOs and which ones are this and which ones are that. And it's going to take an army to try to get through it. Crypto is going to have its own regulation. And it's going to be a long time coming before it has its own regulation, believe me. They're going to watch it all screw up and do a bunch of stuff. But anyway, enough about that. So, if I were to go to that Bitcoin Micro, right, at BAMM22, and type that into here, that's where that should show up. But it doesn't. So, Tradingview is not always your best source. Tradingview is great for charting and things like that, but this is proof that Tradingview is not always your best source. There's other good sources out there, and if you type in BAM, I want to see what all this brings up. Let's see if it brings up anything. No, it doesn't. Wow. Okay, so what does bring up Bitcoin futures is this. I think it's BTC. Yeah, Bitcoin futures here. And then I'll have a exclamation point 1 or 1 exclamation point. Now, the problem here is that whenever data is aggregated, okay, this is technically my prediction of what was going to happen. And Has that happened? I don't know. Anyway, and this is back in whenever I started it here. So that was the 1st of June. So, and the reason I thought this was because it was going to go down into this monthly fair value gap, right? Which is an imbalance, right? So that's what price looks for. Price looks for two things, right? It looks for imbalance and it looks for liquidity, right? Why does it look for imbalance? Because imbalances kind of throw off the chart, right? So it needs to get rebalanced to make everything. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Other than, hey, there's a person on this side of the teeter-totter. There needs to be another person on this side of the teeter-totter. Otherwise, one side goes up, one side goes down, right? And that's kind of what happens in the charts. So whenever you go to a chart and you go to a month, right? And you have and I have to be very careful about kind of showing you how to do this. Okay. What you have is that you have a wick that goes up to here, right? All of this space is open, and then you have a wick here. That, all of that right there is considered an imbalance. So what does that tell me? That tells me that eventually price is going to come back down into that area. And look what it did. Boom. All the way to the very bottom of it. It filled the entire monthly fair value gap imbalance. And if anybody was watching while I was drawing this up, you could see I had already pulled up these boxes. I was counting on this. I'm not just making this up out of my head. I'm not just drawing boxes, I was counting on this. I hate to say it, but yeah, that's just the way it was. And that's why I thought, well, I guess I was a little, optimistic, I guess you could say. Because they don't always have to fill the imbalances. So if you think they always have to fill the imbalances, don't always think that. And that's what I was trying to get to, people's heads. It doesn't always have to fill the imbalances. Now, it could come down and get really close. It could have came down and actually just barely entered this weekly fair value gap and then turned around. And that would have been perfectly acceptable too. So there's a lot of things, to take into consideration whenever you're talking about how price action works, how price action is going to affect the chart down the road, how price action is going to affect the whole picture, right? Because every little bit counts. I mean, I know a lot of people that just sit there and watch the 1 minute and they'll scalp off the 1 minute, and I don't know how they do it. Because to me, you're giving a bigger chance to everybody else if you're scalping every single 1 minute than if you were to actually take the time, take 20, 30 minutes at home or whatever and just do, all of your, if you can remember all of your runs or whatever, and try to go back and look and see if you can find an imbalance, if you can find double lows, if you can find double highs. Because the double highs and the double lows also equal liquidity. And I think that's what, let's check out Ethereum next. Because I think that's what Ethereum is. No, maybe not. Hold on. Oops. I overpulled that one. Okay, so anyway, but we still can't go over Ethereum. But I hope you guys got the gist of what happened with Bitcoin, right? And I hope you understand that now, but more than likely, I can't say it for 100% because I don't know. I know, you know. I wish I knew. I wish I was that smart to know that the market was just going to start going back up again. But this is where I anticipated it, to be honest. Because there were telltale signs. There really were telltale signs in these areas that were going to say, hey, this is when we're going to change. Sorry, I have to take a drink. Okay. So now we're on Ethereum. Okay, so yes and no about this one. Because I did say something about equal highs, right? Alright, so the thing about equal highs with Ethereum is that they're all sitting right here. Now, they're not all exactly equal highs, but that's not the point. The point is that there's enough for people to believe that there is an area of rejection, right? So if there is an area of rejection, then what that means is that whenever it gets back up there, what's it going to do? Reject? Do you really think it's going to reject once it gets back up there? Especially if smart money has control of this chart? It could. It could. I'm not going to lie. It could. What it could do, and what I've seen it do, come up. Oops, I guess I should probably draw with a brush, huh? Come up, get close, pull down. And I'm going to stop right here. And why am I going to stop right here? Okay, I'll show you why I'm going to stop right here. Because right there is a breaker. Now, what is a breaker? Good question. If you look from here, the bottom of this low, you can see it runs up a high and then drops again. Low, high, lower low. Right? So I'm going to take this off the magnet. Low. Actually, let me type it. I don't even know if that worked. So low. Why is this not working? Low. Needs to be right there. Actually, let me move this up really quick so I can delete this out of there. Okay. Low. And then we will change this to high. Except for I kind of screwed with the first stage. And then we have a lower low right after that. Literally the hour after that, we have a lower low. Okay, so right in here. So what that means is that green candle that caused that high caused a breaker. I know some of these terms are all going to be foreign to you at first. That's fine. They were foreign to me at first too, and I was like, well, what did he mean by that? But thank God I got mentored by Inner Circle Trader. And so again, take a look at his videos. Hopefully anything I'm saying to you tonight is supplemental to what how he teaches people. And he does it way better than I do. I'm trying to give you what's happening right now in the charts. He'll kind of give you like a rundown, like a good lesson plan of like what's happening. I just try to pick out what's happening in the charts right now, and then try to use those as examples of smart money, basically. Okay, so we have that candle right there. Right, okay. So did you see that it came up to it and it touched the bottom of it and then dropped? Why do you think it came up to the bottom of it and then dropped? Well, that's because of the breaker. So if you have a low, high, lower, low moment, and then all of a sudden you have a consolidation, and then all of a sudden the consolidation breaks, right? Consolidation breaks, boom, lower low. And then what does it do? Boom, equal highs. All right, so when it comes up to equal highs, what is a retail trader thinking? Short it, right? If you short it, you'll make more money shorting it. Well, looks like that wick right there, that was probably the institutions shorting it really, really soon. They were just dumped all their money as quick as possible. And then the regular retail traders probably followed suit until it got down to here. Now this is an interesting area. Why there? Okay, that's a good question, because I want to look at the bottom of the green candle and the bottom of the red candle and see if they're equal. So my computer is acting really slow right now. Okay. So low here is 977.59, right? Low here, 939.25. This is 977.29. Oh no, sorry, 936.59. My bad. 936.59. 936.25. Okay, so 14 cents lower, just barely lower. That makes sense. Okay, why does that make sense? Because you have another one of those fair value gaps, right? Instead of it being on a monthly, now you have it on an hourly. I wish this rectangle would pick up. This is killing me. Okay. Pull it across. And then I'm also going to extend it this way. Oops. There we go. So this one was lower than the other one, right? Because this one was low, 936.59. This one was 939.25. Okay, so yeah, this one was lower. So this one comes down, almost touches it. And then this is where actually a lot of people would break. And not really break, but I don't know, go full house. They would throw in all their money right there if they knew smart money, but didn't know it well enough, right? They would, bet the house that they were gonna, run it from here up, and then it runs up, and then boom, gets rejected, gets shot back down, back into that fair value gap. Now, why did that happen? I can show you right now. That right there. So you have this green candle here, which is the last green candle up. That is where the corporations pushed it up. Right? That's where they bought really hard. That one last squeeze, right? They bought it, and then they tried to force everybody else up. And when everybody else went up, what did they do? They sold. Now, when they sold, they were still holding on to this short. So now, the short has gone all the way down here. If they weren't able to let go of the shorts here, then once it got up to here, they were able to let go of the short there. I can almost guarantee you those two prices are the same. Let me see. Low here, 977.49. High, 979.42. So it gets a little bit higher up in here, which is good for the people that bought in that area. Right? So once it got up into there, then they were able to let go of their trades, and it didn't affect them. And so then it comes back down, and what does it do? Gets inside of that fair value gap again. First time it didn't happen, this time it does. And this is a 15-minute chart, guys. Sorry, 1 hour chart. These things do happen on 15-minute charts, but you have to be really paying attention to them. Primarily, I know a lot of people that do all their technical analysis, they will do it on like these weird charts. It's so weird. You know, like 120-minute or a 3-day or something like that. It's like, do you really think banks are doing that? Banks are not going by every 4 hours. They're not taking a lunch and then coming back by the end of the day being like, well, I guess we should do something about that, huh? No, that's not what banks do. It's not what institutions do. They go by the hour. They go by the 4 hour. This is the reason why we were taught this in retail. They go by the hour, 4 hour. Then they go by the day. They go by the week. And then they go by the month. It's that simple. It really is. But some people make it complicated. They want to do like, every 20 minutes or something like that. It's like, why? Stop it. Anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent here. So it pushes back down into this fair value gap, which is between this high and this low. So it comes down into this low. That is what we call an institutional order flow entry drill. IOFED. That is exactly what that is called. Institutional order flow entry drill. So that means that it's so hard. I've been doing this for like 2 years, and still sometimes it's hard for me to explain exactly like, okay, how do I explain to people that companies are trying to screw them, and this is how they screw them. Well, this is how they screw them, because it's all part of an algorithm, and this is the algorithm, right? So they leave this box open, right? And what is this box? This box is an imbalance. And like I said before, price chases imbalances, right? And also price chases liquidity. And both can be true at the same time too, believe it or not. So So price came down. It chased the liquidity, or not the liquidity, the imbalance. It got to the imbalance, and as soon as it got to the imbalance, look at this, 2 equal highs. So what did it do? Rocket ship up a bunch above those highs, and those highs are what? That's where liquidity lies. Now, why does liquidity lie there? Because that's where almost every single retail trader would be expecting it to go short again. So as soon as you see that, you see almost 2 equal highs, always think to yourself, the next time it's going to go higher. If it doesn't, okay, then we'll start observing the lower part of that, right? But to me, almost every time that I have seen that, it is because it wants to go higher. So what does it do? Okay, it goes higher, right? And what it gets to the 1 hour fair value gap top, which is what? The bottom of this candle here at midnight on June 18th. Right? So the low of that candle is 107.33. We're still in Ethereum, guys. All right. I don't even know who's out there with me, but thank you if you're out there with me. In here, 107.59. So this went a little bit above. Why did it go a little bit above? And if you said the same exact thing I just said before, you're right. It's because these guys right here, right, that bought, that pushed it up just enough to get retail to chase them, that as soon as they got here, that's when the large money sold almost everything they had. And that's what made it drop like that. And so whenever you think about commercial of traders, I don't know if you guys know what commercial of traders is. I'm going to introduce this to you. Commercial of traders, let's say an airline, employs a trader, a gasoline trader, something like that, to think about their potential risks as an airline company coming up with maybe like gas shortages or disruption of the supply chain, things like that. So they're there to, if they don't make the money in oil, they can make the money. Oops, I just knocked over my my fan. If they don't make the money up in oil, they can make it up in trading, right? So in banking, it's pretty much the same way. Hold on, pros. I'm all ears trying to learn this mess. Thank you for your time. Oh man, believe me, it took me a long time to learn this mess. Years to learn this mess. I just started trading. What is this year? 2022. I started trading 2019. 2020 was when I took the mentorship with this guy to learn all this. And again, I learned on Forex and I learned on equities. And I'm bringing this over to crypto. Or at least I feel like I'm the only one that's bringing this over to crypto. So thank you for acknowledging me. I think that makes the whole world to me. Dude, that's all I want. Is somebody say thank you. That's all. I don't want anything else. I don't want money, whatever. I am mentoring a couple of people. They're doing great, by the way. But they came to me begging to be mentored, basically. But okay, so I forgot where I was at even. Okay, so here, oh yeah, this part. So Whenever these guys pushed up, this was the corporations pushing up. And whenever they got to a certain point, they sold everything. And again, like I mentioned with the gasoline companies, they hedge their bets by making more money by going short or something like that. Well, that's what the same thing with bankers do, right? That's what the same thing with whoever these, I don't know who these people are, who these institutions are that make money off crypto, but that this is their job. Their job is to look at crypto in a specific way and bank off of it, basically. And so, okay, let's go to barchart.com so I can show you this specifically. Okay, barchart.com will show you the commitment to traders report. So if you want to select a commodity, oh, I already did this on Bitcoin. That's right. Okay, so yeah, we never actually went over the Bitcoin chart. That's what it was. So if I actually click on Bitcoin, this is Bitcoin Micro June 22. Okay. And so you can kind of see the contract size, 0.1. Jeez, that's a big ass contract size. I'm sorry. I love my money, but I am not going to be meddling in that kind of contract size. And that's a micro. It's a micro. Jeez. All right, tick size 5 points, which is 50 cents per contract. Okay, well, that's not that bad. But still. Yeah, that is pretty bad. You can probably rack up thousands and millions of dollars pretty quick with that. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about the full chart. So whenever you get one of these, click on full chart, right? And it's you don't want open, high, low. You want open, high, low, close. Open to close, right? And you can see what's been happening throughout the year, you know. And so basically throughout or for the month of June, this is what the speculators have anticipated, right? This is where they put their money at a specific time. Now, once it gets closer to time, that is what really tells the story. Not only that, if you go to study, this plus study above it, and you search for commitment of traders, right? Okay, and here it says commercial spec step, width, and red. These are your commercial institutions. These are your institutions with very, very large dollar amounts in their accounts. These are the ones you want to look for, right? These are the ones that are going to give you every single thing, every single hint that you want to know about this chart. Commercial speculators are going to help you. All right, large speculators. What are large speculators? Large speculators are your hedge fund people, your people that have some kind of license from FINRA that help people retire, that have a pretty decent sized account, but they're not like in that huge bracket, right? They're not typical traders. They're just generally asset managers, basically. And then you have small speculators. Who are small speculators? Oh, that's like me and you, right? We're nobody, right? They don't care, but I don't know exactly what the money cutoff point is. I don't. I wish I knew the money cutoff point, but if you as long as you know this, now watch this. You can see it Here, I'm gonna drag this down a little bit if I can. If it'll let me. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So here you can see the commercial speculators, as they got done adding more to their net longs, they started adding a lot of net shorts. And when they stop it, boom, right here. Now, how did they know to stop it right there? That's going to be your next question to me. It should be your next question to me. All right. And the reason is because this is the open interest right here. This purple line that goes across. It's because it rose more than 15-20% within an hour. Or, sorry, 15 to 20% within a day, not an hour. Sorry. So from this green to this red, that is a sure sign that it's just going to blow the lid off of it, and it's going to go the opposite direction. So what happened? The large speculators saw that, and they said, wait, the open interest did what? The open interest, everybody was betting against it, and now all of a sudden everybody's betting for it. And then as soon as the people that waited for it to get that low, right, and then bet against it and pushed it up, and all they had to do was get to that equal high. You see that? Unfortunately, I don't know if I can draw lines on this. I'm not really good at bar chart really yet. Oh, okay, yeah, you can. But bar chart gives you a lot of good information. Okay, so let's go here. Boom. Wait, why didn't it stay? Trend line. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Why is this not staying? Ugh, this is starting to be annoying. Oh, I know why. I had to hold it. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so they were just a little bit off. It didn't exactly get all. Actually, I'm not for sure. I'll have to double check what these highs are. Here's the high here. The high here is 32,600, right? And then the high here, 32,440. So it didn't get all the way up into the fair value gap of this big gap here, right? So that's what would typically happen. What would typically happen is that you would see that enter that fair value gap and then drop. All right. But they knew it was going to come up eventually, right? And you could see it by the adding of the open interest. And all it took was 1 hour. It took 1 hour to go whoop and then back down again. It's crazy. Like, you see, to me, just looking at this stuff is crazy. Like, and then trying to explain it to people is crazy. because they're like, "Hey, you don't have to know this stuff," and it's like, yes, you do need to know this stuff, man. You have to know this stuff. Like, I mean, you don't have to know it by a T, but you need to know that this is in there. You need to know about what the commitment to traders report is. You need to know that it is that the institutions have to turn in every 2 weeks their numbers on the trades that they have made, right? And that the CFTC looks at those numbers and they will chart those out. And that helps everybody. It helps everybody, right? As long as it can help everybody, that is the main thing. Okay, last thing. XMR. I'm pretty sure you already know what I'm going to say about this. Or if you've been paying attention throughout the last maybe 30 minutes, if you've been paying attention to the last 2 hours, awesome. But you already know what's going to happen here. You have almost 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over here they may not be as equal as these others, but they're still considered relatively equal, as we would call it, right? They may not be pound for pound. They may not be it may not be like 116.5 or 116.7 or something like that, but a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there. What that's going to do is that's going to shake the confidence of the retail trader to look at that and go, oh, well, that's where it's dropping. I bet next time it gets close to there, it's going to drop even shorter than that. You think so? And then you look at the guy and you go, I'll bet you $10 it won't. I'll bet you $10 it's going to jump above that. Why? And I'll show you why. Because if you actually, and I love doing one of these, right? So if you actually were to bet on this, and you want to show somebody why they're wrong in the future, this is how you would do it. Sorry, I moved this on accident, so I'm going to have to move it back. Okay. Jeez, that didn't work either. I'm just going to hit back a bunch of times. All right. So everybody's expecting it to come up or near this line, correct? Because they think it's going to short after that. Why do they think it's going to short after that? Well, because it's already shorted here, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 points, 5 low points. So to everybody that has been taught retail, what are you told? Right? You were told that that is a support point. That is not a support point. That's what the banks want you to think. The banks want you to think that that is a support point. So instead, what happens is they'll come up here. All right, and then, I mean, there's so much going on in this chart that it would take me hours upon hours to get through this. So I'm just trying to get through a couple more minutes of this so I can get out of here. But I just want to give you some really good points, whoever's watching this. All right, so here, this last green candle going up. It's not the last green candle, but I guess you could say it's the middle green candle going up, right? Middle green candle going up, comes down, and your last green candle goes up. But if you're looking at that from a 1 hour perspective, that's probably going to be your last green candle going up. It is. Surprise, surprise. So, technically, that is your bearish order block. If you don't know what a bearish order block is, now you know what one is. All right, so a bearish order block is whenever you have a part that it, gets created or whatever, runs up, and then all of a sudden turns around and starts going back down again. It is the last up candle before the next down candles close below it. It's not it's not this candle, even though this candle's the one that closes below it, or it's not this candle because this is the candle below it and it closes below it. It is the last up candle before the next down candles close below it. Why? Because you could also throw this on a 4 hour too, and it's probably the same thing. That's why we say that. Actually, look at that. It's neither. But the 1 hour is accurate. So now, now we're taking a look at it from the 4 hour. I mean, we're just kind of bouncing around, but we're still trying to get these same ideas into place, right? So you see these 3 equal lows here? Four, 8. Sorry. 4, 8, 12. That took 12 hours to do. And then all of a sudden, during some time in London, boom, we just decided to jump up, drop down, pull back up, and somehow that didn't even line up with the close. Not a big deal, though. It just because it doesn't line up with the close, not a big deal. All right, so now you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, it gets down, pulls back up, comes back over. Now your 4th hour is done. It's dropping even more. What's interesting is that yesterday, whenever I took this chart, right, I measured from here to here because that was the highest point and that was the lowest point before it started trading sideways. I come in today and noticed it got all the way down to the negative 127% extension. If you're going to be on smart money and you're going to learn about smart money, you need to know about your extensions and you need to know about your fibs, right? So your fibs, where your extensions are going to go, where your parts are going to go, right? So if they're going to extend out, they're going to extend out to the 127%, the 150%, 162%, and then that goes on forever. 62, 200, 227, 262, 300. And then I kind of left a big gap because usually you don't give that many after that. But watch that. Seriously, put your... And the reason I put those negative is because I didn't want to have to click this and then hit settings and then come down here and hit, not levels, but reverse. I didn't want to have to hit reverse every single time. So what I did is I just put a fib on a regular one, and then I put negatives, so that way you don't have to actually flip the fib around on reverse. Those levels are already there for you. You just got to know how to interpret them in your head. So it comes up. Now I have equal highs, right? It comes back down, 127. Comes back up. Now we're at equal highs. What's going to happen now? Anybody know? Got an idea? I know you guys are probably like typing right now. I mean, like, maybe it'll do this. Maybe you're not typing. Maybe you're not even paying attention. I don't know. I'm just talking for my sanity, to be honest. I'm talking because I've had this mentorship. I paid a ton of money for this mentorship, and I'm just trying to give it away for free. I'm not giving all of this information for free, of course, but I'm trying to get the small guy. Man, we gotta take over these big corporations, man. Okay, so what's gonna happen is, first of all, let's get rid of these. Oops, didn't want to get rid of that. I want to get rid of the dotted lines. Damn it, what? You know, I'm just gonna add him back in. Okay, so now you have a fair value gap. And look at that. Wow. That thing danced right on top of those, and it barely dipped into that one fair value gap. So now we have a conundrum. We have price action that doesn't want to break equal highs because of liquidity. That doesn't want to, I mean, it does, but they're going to try their hardest not to. Not until they absolutely have to. That's kind of how I've realized how this ship works. These parts don't want to do this. So, because if this thing really worked, and this is an IOFED, an institutional order flow entry drill, you would see, boom, these things flying up. But instead, where are we at? We are at the bearish order block of this guy. Oh, then I'll stay. And what do I mean by bearish order block is that this is your last bullish candle before the next bearish candle comes down and closes below it. That is called a bearish order block. You have another one right here. I guess I could change those a different color so it doesn't look like they're supposed to be going up. It means that they're supposed to be going green. Or sorry, been going red. Hello. I've been awake for a while. It is 2:10 a.m. It's okay. I don't have to work until 4-something p.m. tomorrow. That's why I stay up all night and trade. I've been here for an hour, and this is all alpha. Oh, cool. Thank you. Keep going. I'll have to watch the beginning of what I missed. I'm not exactly for sure what you missed, but basically what I said is that, we're going to go through what I think is the barometers of pressure, or the barometers of crypto, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Monero. I think those three are the barometers, because Bitcoin's first in, best dressed. Ethereum, first to smart contracts, and then Monero first to be, the privacy. You got that trifecta. Everybody wants a piece of those three. That's for sure. Sorry, McAfee couldn't, make it with his ghost coin, but it is what it is. But I love Monero. I think Monero is one of the most underrated coins out there. But yeah, hold on. Let me change these to green or not green, just red before I forget. So anytime that the price comes up to this area, they should get rejected, and they have been getting rejected. And that's why this is interesting right now, because we have this 4-hour fair value gap. It's going right across here. And each of these 4 hours, these guys have been dancing across the top of it. So now's the question is okay, so what's going to happen first? Is it going to drop down and go up, or is it going to go up and drop down? Well, that's when you have to go back and start doing larger analysis. All right? And if you start doing larger analysis, you'll start getting the answers. In my opinion. In my personal opinion. Hold on. I scrounged the internet looking for any great info. I need to do more research, and these charts give me a lot of good. Oh, cool. Thanks, man. I owe everything that I'm teaching you now to Inner Circle Trader. So if you can, please look up his channel. He is the best. I mean, like, I don't. Do you only trade crypto? I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming you do, since your last name is, or your $menu.eth, since you got an ENS. I'm assuming you're more of a crypto guy than you are anything else. But I don't know that. I'm not going to assume anything. But if you are, I would still ask you to go to his channel and watch every single thing you can, because it will change your perspective on how money is perceived, how charts are perceived, how we're all getting screwed. We're all getting screwed by an algorithm. And the dude is flatting out telling you, he's like, man, you're getting screwed by, and he'll tell you, I worked at this place in the 90s, I worked at this place. And, he'll tell you he's worked on Wall Street. He's been in the pit, and he'll tell you they don't care. There is somebody back there pushing buttons. There's an Oz behind the curtains. He doesn't know who it is, but he knows how to get past him. And he's trying to teach his kids right now how to be better people and try to you know ICT. Then I don't know why I'm telling you. Never mind. But yeah, what I think is fascinating now is now that he's kind of because last year was his last year for his private mentorship, and that's when I was in it. I was in his last year of his private mentorship, and now he's passing it on to his kids. And so he's doing it for his girl. Man, that's cool. That's cool. You know who ICT is. Okay. So yeah, I've been through the in-depths of hell with ICT. That's for sure. I have had him send me pretty mean emails for being like, are you sure you're doing it right? And I'm like, yes, I'm sure I'm doing it right. And I've never got to meet him face to face, but great guy. I wouldn't be where I am today without him. I mean, and to be honest, my first year I started with iMarkets Live. I was negative $2,000 trading, because they made it seem like iMarkets Live was going to be like this greatest thing ever, and they have this AI that's going to catch all these great trades for you and all this stuff. Dude, they should be sued for libel, really they should, because once, somebody asked me about ICT and Mauricio comes out and says, nobody talking about anybody else's classes in my room. That was a red flag for me. And everybody else I signed up with, they were like, dude, they were like, everybody here acts like a high school person. And they were talking about that other place, the other school that taught you how to trade. And we all got out of there, and I'm so glad I did. And I'm so glad I went to ICT. He's such a great guy. All right, so I'm gonna try to finish off modems. I'm sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent here with you though. I haven't seen his channel, but I am now after this. Okay, yeah, his Okay, so after, like I said, after this year, he started a free mentorship, all online. Before that, he kind of like did like little exercises and things like that here and there. He does this thing called like the Sniper Series. There's quite a few cool things that he does have on his YouTube channel. But now he's got like, I haven't even really been able to pay attention to it, to be honest. But from my understanding is that it's supposed to be going a lot better. And it has to do with only the equities, the indices equities. That's the word I'm looking for. Like the S&P 500, the U.S. Tech 100. I can't even think of the actual real name of it right now. I'm so tired. But he will know how to be like, oh, okay, it's this time of the day. Guess what? We're gonna have to watch for this, and this to happen. And sure enough, it'll happen like right there. You're like, God, man, like, how do you know like that's gonna happen? And he's like, I've sat in this chair all day for 20-something years doing this. He's like, this is all I know. He's got a bowling alley in his house, for crying out loud. So, wow. What do I do? Okay. I am actually, I work for a company called Ison, and it's where you basically do production for electronic car parts. Nothing exciting. I used to work for Lyft as an analyst, to believe it or not, the car company. You know, it kind of picks you up, like kind of like Cab, Uber's biggest rival. I used to work for them in Chicago. I'm not in Chicago anymore, but that's where I used to work for Lyft. And also I used to work for a small venue in Chicago. I have a musical business background. As you can see by, hold on, let me see if you can see my musical equipment back over here in my quarter-inch and, my 24 keyboard and my drum pads and all that stuff. So that's what I do. And what I want to do, not for sure what you do, but what do you do? And while you're typing that up, I'm probably going to try to get the last of this thought pushed out from Monero, because we do have so many equal highs, and it looks like we have some equal lows now. I swear I'm like the jack of all trades, king of none. I wish I was a professional, trader. That's one thing I wish I was. I want to get there, and I trade every day, hoping that, one day will be the change of my life. But I make small amounts and small amounts and small amounts, and eventually it'll keep adding up and keep adding up and keep adding up, and eventually, hopefully, all that will get to the point where I can, I don't know, hopefully retire early. Hopefully. I mean, the job I had before this, I was at, there's a Pepsi facility in my hometown, and I was in management there, and I think I barely even got it on my 401. You had to be there for like a year and a half before you could start your 401k, and which is so stupid. And like most companies, it's like 3 to 6 or something like that. This was like an independently verified owned like Pepsi. It was so weird. But they didn't want anybody else to have good health coverage. They only wanted good health coverage themselves, so they wouldn't throw in with everybody else in the big pool. So you had to pay a crap ton for health care. They were just the worst company. I mean, I'm not talking about Pepsi. I'm talking about the one that is in a very small portion in the bottom, kind of near Kentucky, kind of near Arkansas, kind of near Missouri, kind of near Illinois-ish area, if you know what I mean. I don't want to give too much away about where I am, but kind of where I'm at. Oh, yeah, you're a synth head yourself. Oh, cool. Yeah, dude, I'm a huge man. I was just jamming out to Big G the other day, like hardcore, and jamming out to Big G. I love Big Gigantic, man. Skrillex and all kinds of weird shit, to be honest. Retired military veteran. Learn more about crypto. Yeah, my cousin actually just got back from the Marines. He was in Hawaii. He had a lot of drills in Japan. He just moved back not too long ago. Crazy. The modular music. Oh, so kind of like what Pretty Lights did, with like those like modular sounds and like punched holes and like all the little boards and stuff like that. I don't know if you know who Pretty Lights is, but he like recorded like all these like weird little sounds. Like he's a great producer in my eyes, but he did the modular synthesis. I think that's what it's actually called, is modular synthesis. And he had to like plug in like all these like little holes and with wires and stuff like that, and he recorded like all these different sounds, and next thing you know, he's making this banger fucking awesome album. I was like, now that is an album. That's an album I would be proud to do myself. But wow, I'm going late, guys. I really am. And I'm sorry I'm going late. $menu.eth. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. The last thing I wanted to do, Jesus Christ, look at these. Because this is actually going to go on Rumble too, and I'm sorry, $menu.eth, they're not going to see your stuff on menu. They're just going to hear me talking to they're going to see me talking to myself, basically, and they're going to think I'm crazy. So that's what's going to be funny. Military fun times, yeah. I respect, utmost respect to all you guys in the military, man. Thank you for putting your bodies and putting your lives first for our country. I believe in our country's freedoms. I believe that our country is the best country in the world, the United States. And I don't want to live like people halfway across the world do right now. I don't want to live under a boot, So we get modular Euro rack. I don't know what that means. I'll have to look some of this stuff up, man. Maybe shoot me a link or something in the chat, and I'll check it out, man. Richard Devon, no, don't. Who is he? He's got to be some kind of producer, I'm sure. Kind of like what Rick Ross was to Glassjaw and Korn. two totally different sounds, but way better. All right. All right. I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm sure everybody's over here like, what's this guy talking about? Okay, here we go. This is a daily fair value gap here. So whenever I do these, I do these a lot, and because I do these a lot, I know I draw one. Double click on it, and make sure you make a note of it. Daily FVG means daily fair value gap. Also means daily imbalance. So wrong chord. So if you're new at this and you're trying to record imbalances, you can type imbalance, something like that. But the technical narration word for it is a fair value gap. And this is happening on a daily chart, and it's happening between wick and wick, right? So that's what I'm looking at. And you can see, okay, so here's the 100%. What's interesting is that if I get on the daily, boom, here's the low. And this is a huge wick. See, this is why Monero is probably at the lowest it's ever been. It's insane. It's insane. I don't know. Again, appreciated the time and your insight and some good. Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to go to sleep soon for sure. But thank you for hanging in there with me, man. Check out Smart Money. I wish there was more I could show you. If you want to check out my locals, it's probably all in the description. Bodies X Wix. Some of my things say I have my website up. I tried getting it up and it didn't work out too well. Google spazzed out, and I don't know. And I had to change my actual website name Bodies and Wix instead of Bodies X Wix. Anyways, a lot of it's messed up, but you can find me on almost every social media platform as Bodies X Wix. Shoot me messages there, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. I hate all of them, but I use all of them because I have to try to reach all the right people. But thank you for hanging in there, man. I'm just glad I got to help somebody out, dude. That you made my night, to be honest. So thank you, and thank you for being a military person. To all the rest of you people out there, if there's anybody else out there that hasn't spoken up, thank you for hanging out, watching everything you've done. Hopefully you learned something like this man did. And I should do another one soon. I don't know when. I usually do at least one a week. I'm going to try to start doing